screams louder.
John,
buddy,
good morning.
how you doing?
How's this primer treating you?
I feel like it's the Evo all over again.
The Evo?
Well, last time I was doing this was on the Evo wagon.
Last time I was doing this was the Supra.
Before me, yeah.
So in the last video, we got this thing in primer. Primer is definitely different. It's crazy because it's like, it's shiny, which is cool because you could actually kind of see what you're working with. So like I said, this primer had some good reviews online, and the previous primer that we've been using, I guess it kind of keeps shrinking for like 2 weeks, and this primer basically stops shrinking after like 2.5 days, which is really awesome. Yeah, Sean is basically just blocking the roof right now. 120 grit. Came here yesterday, gave it a little test section real quick. But we already know there's a couple dings, a couple little dents and stuff. Like right there, that's a low spot. Honestly, that one might even block out.
Well, I blocked one out right here, and you can see.
Well, I mean, that's all right, as long as it's that. See if we can get. Is it not going? If not, we can just do a little bit of
Get it as close as you can.
the icing, you know. Yeah, essentially just go around the whole thing. What do you think of this, the guide coat like that? It's a lot better than using all that.
That other stuff's a mess, dude.
Yeah, it just takes a long time. So yeah, basically as soon as all the guide coat is all sanded off and there's no low spots, we should be ready to go. But like you can see right there, a little dent right there. There's a little sand scratch, so I put a little bit of extra primer right here. So that should kind of fill that up. This primer, it feels kind of weird.
Yeah, it's
like
different.
It's definitely different, but I kind of like it. A couple little dings and stuff like right here. You can see tiny little ones on the. But that's kind of the nice thing about it actually being shiny, is you could actually see where the dents are. Now you can see where some of the sand scratches are right here too. So, and yeah, once we start blocking that, all of that stuff will come out. Basically, the primer just fills in all those little scratches, and we should be good to go. So, yeah, got a couple more things to do on the computer today, and then I'm gonna come out here. Me and Sean are gonna block this thing all the way down.
Yep.
Alright guys, so we have a problem. Sean, what's the problem?
Well, we're out of sandpaper.
Yeah.
And
that is a big problem when you're trying to sand a whole
the
car.
base coat. Well, I don't know, this stuff's not as easy to sand as I was hoping for. Watch this, ready?
Alright, is it brand new? Okay, let's see it.
Well, now it's not gonna do it, but after you sand it for a while, it gums you.
Well, I feel like it's kind of getting a little bit of the black stuff on it, which is the base coat. Which, you know, I don't know. I think I put it on a little bit heavier than I should have, because it almost looks like I was trying to paint the car and I ran out of paint. You know, but really, like, it was covering really well. I should have, like, stood back a little bit further or reduced it some more. So I think I sprayed it on a little bit thick, but here we go, boys. So Sean has got the roof all done, these little roof rails. I got the trunk. The trunk looks beautiful. You need a wire brush.
I just do this.
Oh, that's beautiful. Just like that, brand new piece of paper. So you can see we're just working through all these kind of low spots right now, making this thing shine like a diamond. This thing can be straight as an arrow. And that's essential when you're painting a black car, just because it kind of shows all of the imperfections, or, you know, it's like a mirror. Like looking out over like a glassy lake or something, you see if there's ripples or waves or anything. And so right here, we did a little bit of body filler right here, and you can see the sand scratches that we're still trying to sand. And then right here, so this is basically when you know when to stop, is when you get down to the metal, because those are kind of like high spots. But since they're so feathered out, they're fine, so they actually won't show up in the previous, or in the base coat when we actually go to sand it. But you can see like a couple little spots like right here, like that's a little low, that's a little low. But overall, just basically just need to sand out all these sand scratches. This is going to be a little ding right there. And then there's also gonna be a little ding right there possibly, unless I'm able to sand it out, which there's enough primer on here. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot. I sanded out a couple little dings in the front of this thing and they look great. Yeah, I did 3 good coats. So yeah, we're just waiting on the paint store. They're delivering some sandpaper out here. And we're just gonna continue going ahead until they get here with our dull sandpaper we've been using already. Hi guys, so me and Sean have been sanding on this thing all day. Crazy how long it's taken. So we still pretty much have these 2 doors to do. Pretty much the whole rest of the car is in good shape other than this fender. Still need to finish doing that. But basically all day, we've just been out here sanding. So what we're looking for is exactly stuff like this. So this is like a little hell dent or a rock chip. And you can see that, you know, that's the low spot. So it hasn't been, the black guide coat that we put on top of it has not been sanded off. And so what we're gonna do is now, that's actually a little bit taller than we'd like, as it's pretty much metal right there. And so what we're gonna do is take this 80 grit sandpaper and just kind of scuff it like down in the center of that. Kind of blend it out just a little bit. So a little bit of filler will stick. Hit it with a little bit of wax and grease right here. Essentially now that is ready to put a little bit of our, called icing. It's like basically a thinner version of body filler, and we'll just kind of put a little bit of that in here. There's a couple other little spots, like there was a rock chip right here that was pretty deep, right there, and a couple other little ones on the other side of the car. So we're gonna go mix a little bit of this icing stuff. So it's a polyester finishing putty. Works great. And so we'll just mix a little bit of this up. Actually have a little bit bigger of a spot that I need to skim on the smaller piece of this door over here. Maybe do you think I need more? I'd rather have more than enough.
Yeah.
The way this stuff smells, if you guys could smell this through the camera,
Pleasantly surprised.
You'd be pleasantly surprised. It's actually pretty good. And especially to a guy that's like, does bodywork and paint, it's like kind of a good sign sometimes, I guess. So I mix this kind of hot, so I put a decent amount of hardener in it, so it should get dry pretty quick. So go over here and spoon a little bit of this in that little spot. We always put a little bit more over it, so you can see that was our little spot right there. And really, that should be all that it takes. There was another little spot right here. And we'll just come back and hit this with the 120 grit like we were sanding everything else with. Should knock it down. A little bit of rock chip right here. Put enough in there. And I'll show you guys that spot over here. And I've already basically went all over this thing with the wax and the grease. That little spot. This little spot. Oh, yeah. So that should be good. And then this was kind of the lower piece that we have. Really not bad. It's basically just a little bit of a ripple. It was kind of actually had some high spots from the previous guy. They basically pulled used like a stud gun on it. And so there was a couple of high spots. I just hammered them down and then sanded it out. And it honestly sanded out pretty good. So really all it needs is just a tiny little skim. We'll go back and block this. And it should be brand new. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other little spots. for now, at least we still got to do them doors, but for now this will give me a chance to get this all blocked. And then basically now we have all the masking, which is still intact. We'll go around and double check it, but we'll spot prime the big spots where we use any filler, and then we'll reduce the primer actually a lot thinner and go over the whole car again, and then we'll wet sand it, and then basically it should be ready for sealer and base coat. So should be able to paint this thing with, I don't know, what is it? Today's Monday at almost 6 o'clock. Like Wednesday, Thursday, because tomorrow.
Or you just paint on Friday, and then we would still be truthful about what we said.
That we're painted on Friday.
Yeah, we're painted on Friday.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I guess that's it for now. Right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all that time lapse and this clip. Guys, so I'm passing the torch over to Sean.
Reprimer it again, buddy.
Yep. Little reprime on this thing. So we're actually going to thin it out a little bit more. So this is a high build primer. So it's a direct to metal high build primer, which is pretty much the only kind of primer that I would say that you're supposed to put on a car. Because no matter what, even if you are sanding a car, you're going to go through and get to the metal. So like you can see right here, metal, you know, that's the body line. You're always going to have issues where you you basically go through to the metal. You can see we have all these little spots where we kind of all the little dings and stuff, so we put a little bit of filler on all this stuff today, got it all blocked out, and yeah, I mean honestly the car is going to be insanely straight, so really stoked about that. But I'm gonna go home for the night, and it's Sean's turn to stay late here this week, and so he's gonna go ahead and mix up some more of this primer, spray on kind of a thicker coat on some of the stuff that we did a little bit more of the filler work, but we pretty much, I think I only did this in 80 and then finished it in 120. So that'll basically just need blocked a little bit with the primer, but other than that, we're mostly just kind of filling in our 120 grit scratch.
Have you been touching it?
I mean, I'd clean my hands. Should be okay though. It should be okay. So anyhow, Sean's gonna spray some primer, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow, and this thing is gonna be basically ready to start blocking again. Maybe we could block it tomorrow, and then maybe we could paint it on Thursday or Friday.
Kind of like to let it sit like longer than overnight before we start blocking it.
But we're not filling huge scratches though. We're only filling 120 grit scratches, which honestly, even
wet sand it, so
even the sealer, like even if we like sealed it and painted it right now, it would look awesome.
I just want to primer it again just because it's gonna be black.
Yeah.
I think black.
I think it's gonna be black or Nardo gray. You know, to pay homage to the primer. But hey guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and we're just gonna throw Sean over here on the time lapse and let him show you guys how it's done with the primer. All right guys, so this is part of the video where Sean messed up. I was over here editing this video. The import failed. It's actually not because of that. My computer's full.
I'm in the corner right now.
But there was no, the time lapse portion of it failed. So what we're doing right now is we're reviewing the cameras. What do you think of that? Yeah. All right, you hold this, and now this is your chance to record some time lapse of you. You forgot to turn on the GoPro.
No, so what happened, as I was preparing the car to spray, Trevor put a battery in the GoPro. At that point, I was like 3 minutes away from spraying the car. So I assumed that while Trevor was over there putting the battery in the time lapse, he turned it on. I went over, looked at it, saw that it was on, and went and sprayed. But the GoPro was on, but the GoPro wasn't recording time lapse. Putting the final coat of primer on after we did basically the first coat of primer, all the bodywork and stuff, and then this is going to be the final coat that we're going to wet sand with 320 to get the car basically perfect, and then we'll seal it and then spray base and then clear.
Time lapse. I don't know. This is almost like a voiceover of the time lapse.
Yeah, which isn't bad. People like voiceovers.
This is what they would have done.
I put a mask on halfway through too because it started. At first it wasn't bad, and then the shop really started smelling great. So I threw a mask on at some point in this video.
That's good. All right, there you go, boys. There's your time lapse. There's your footage.
There's Donnie. Yep.
Wow, Sean,
buddy,
that is some great work on the primer that you did.
You like that?
It looks great. Nice primer. The cool thing about this, I really like how it's shiny. Like it is definitely like a shiny primer, which is really cool because it like shows you. It's almost like self-guide coating because once you sand it, then it gets dull. I think that's gone. But like the top layer is actually shiny. So when you actually look down the side of the car, you could see how straight it's kind of going to be. And then, yeah. So right now you could see, right here you could see like the sand scratches in it. You can see like a little bit of the orange peel texture, but if you're able to see, there's like some of the lines. You get a reveal. Look at that. So you can see some of the lines. So that is because we hit this with 120 grit. So basically the whole thing is covered in sand scratches. Once everything is all sanded out, like Sean is doing over here, let's check it out. So he's wet sanding a little spot right here on the roof. And then now,
buddy, that is straight as an arrow.
So now this thing is.
There was a little bit of a deal in there, but it's gone now.
What we can put some quick check on it.
Oh, where's it at?
Some quick check.
Ready?
Hit it with the quick check. All right, so this is basically a simulated clear in a can that dries. Yeah, you could already see how flat that is.
Well, the clear is like full of
dust.
Full of dust.
Yeah. But you guys kind of get the point. It's basically, it's gonna be brand new. Yeah, that's really flat.
Because there was like
really
there was a little low spot right there, but the
primer
the primer just filled it right up. So.
Does it feel like sanding it with the wet sand? Is it gumming up the paper less?
No, it doesn't gum the paper up at all.
No, because we don't have the.
Well, not only that, but wet sanding doesn't gum up the paper.
Well, I mean, it still can kind of gum up the paper, but overall, yeah. Now basically, this whole thing just needs wet sanded completely. So he's kind of doing a little test spot right there with 320. We need to get a little bit more, but man, this thing really turned out really straight. I'm pretty happy with it. It wasn't obviously like the Supra where the whole thing completely needed bodywork, but it was one of those things where it had, you know, little parking lot dings and dents and, you know, maybe a couple little pieces of hell or whatever that hit it on the roof. Little things here and there, like there was a little crease right here in the door and right there from like somebody hit it with the parking lot. There was a little dent right here that somebody pulled out, and you guys seen how we did that. So that looks basically perfect now. Yeah, we, you know, still got the good masking on that window right there. Sean has basically been spending a lot of today just kind of doing all the trim. We're going to hit all this stuff with primer as well because we need to get all that wet sanded, you know, the mirrors and all the little weather stripping and trim and stuff just to put on here. But overall, everything is looking pretty nice. So I'm excited to actually get this thing fully wet sanded and then basically painted it. Kind of the plan was tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Maybe we'll paint on Friday. Should we plan on painting on Friday? What are you doing Friday? You gonna be here Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's plan on painting on Friday or Saturday, I guess.
I don't know, we have a lot of stuff to do.
We have a lot of stuff to do.
We'll stick with the premise of we're gonna paint it on Friday.
Okay, whether it's this Friday or next Friday.
Or 6 months from now.
6 months from now, Friday. We also have a lot of parts showing up for this thing. So we have a coil radiator in this box right here. We have a bunch of stuff from Drift Motion. We have a timing belt, water pump, tensioner. This is the OEM shift boot and stuff on the inside. We have valve cover gaskets, basically everything to kind of refresh the 1JZ and get it ready to go. I ordered some parts from Chase Bays, so we have an ABS delete kit, and then right here we have the IS300 clutch pedal thing that Excessive Manufacturing makes. So from the OEM pedals are actually kind of hard to find, so we got a clutch thing and a line from there. So now we could pretty much start assembling the engine and transmission, or, you know, going through and doing all the timing seals, the cam seals, the VVTi seal on this 1JZ. So basically, when it's all said and done, it's just ready to drop in there, the brand new clutch, all that stuff. So we'll just use the same mounts that were on here. And then what we should do is maybe just plug this thing in and then drive it, right? If you guys were stoked on it, if you learned anything in this video, be sure to leave a comment. Check out the links in the description. I will go ahead and put stuff for like the icing and the body filler and the sanding blocks in this description. So if you guys need anything, you can go ahead and purchase it from Amazon, and I will get a little bit of commission off that. But appreciate you guys watching. See you in the next one.